So season 2 of Celebrity Side Hustles is done.
Dusted, baby.
I hope you all enjoyed it. We really enjoyed season 2. I thought we had some amazing guests on, and I think it was quite an eclectic bunch of guests. So we had people that did the charity stuff, and then we had people that did stuff that we wouldn't know necessarily that they did on the side. So I think season 2 was great. I loved. I
really enjoyed doing it. And this is our final episode of the season, and we've opened this up to our viewers, to you guys, to the people at home, and asked you guys to ask us some questions because we're going to interview each other.
Yeah, now the reason why we decided to do this is because we had a little idea, didn't we, about the concept for possibly season 3. So season 3, we thought we might do a season of maybe 12 episodes where we get you guys to write into us.
I know, like you're going to get like blue
pen and
paper and put your stamp on it. But yeah, so you guys can generate the questions. So it can be something topical, it can be something that's personal to you. We're basically going to try and be agony ants. It'd be really good fun, I reckon.
It would be good fun. And I did pitch this to my best friend. Not you are my best friend, however, my best male friend. And I said,
Jay.
We've got Jay.
He's only got 2 friends. Jay.
And I said, we've got this idea. We're going to be agony ants. And
what did Jay say?
He went, basically, who's going to take your advice? Not in so many words, but that's kind of what he said. Yeah.
Well, let's see how it goes because it'll be out very soon. Right, So today we're going to answer some questions that we asked you to send in over social media.
About an hour ago. So
let's fire away. What have you got for me? You go first, Matthew.
Shall I go first? Hang on, let me bring it up here. So what do I click on?
I was such a
Hang on, I am so bad at this.
The first question I've got here is, where did you get your jumper from? Which I think is a really good question because as soon as I arrived this morning, Matthew said, "Oh my God, that's disgusting. What are you wearing?" And I said, "Well, it's my jumper I got off eBay." And he said, "Why didn't you send it back?" So that's where I got it from. It's a little vintage number.
I really like it, actually. I was being silly. I like it a lot. Just flick your hair back. Let's have a full look at it. What are they? Are they parrots?
I don't know, or big budgies or something.
Big budgies? They look like big stalks. Do you know, like very...
Don't touch me. Don't touch my stalks.
I like it.
Okay, so let's...
I've got it up.
Go on.
So the first one I've got up here is, if you could play any character from a film or TV show, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. I think it's so bad. It's such a bad answer. I was going to like Jennifer Lopez in Hustlers.
Would you?
Probably not, but I really enjoyed watching her swing herself around that pole. What about you?
Do you know what I would love if they made a new season of... there was a series called Hustle, funnily enough.
All right.
And Mark Warren, do you know Mark Warren? He played Dracula, I think, as well. He's a British actor. And people have said through the years that I look a little bit like him.
Did they used to say you look like David Beckham before you got really old?
Before I got really old, yeah. But yeah, people used to say, you really remind me of Mark Warren. And if they made a new series of Hustle, did you never watch it?
I've no idea what you're talking about.
It was brilliant.
What's the concept?
The concept is it's a group of people that basically are con people. I say people because it's a group of men and women.
Didn't they already remake this?
Did they?
Adrian Lester.
Adrian Lester was in it.
So he's not that old.
It's not that old, but it's fairly old. But if they remade Hustle, I would love to play that part that Mark Warren played. He was excellent. And I read a thing about him. And I think this is where we're possibly quite similar, this kind of ADHD energy vibe. I think I read a thing about how he got that part. And he sat in the room across from the producers and directors, and he said he couldn't stop fiddling with things throughout the whole interview. Like he had a pen in his hand that he was spinning, and then he'd pick something else up and he'd turn that over in his hand.
Sorry, and I won't break it up.
And they said it was perfect for the character, that kind of energy.
It was just him naturally, rather than whatever it was he depicted. He was the character.
They looked at him and they were like, that is what we want the character to be like, and he got the part. So yeah. So there you go. There you go.
Ask me a question. Let's see what we've got here. We've got one here. Favourite type of day at the gym? I actually really like that question. I love...
Does it mean like favourite type of day as in what you would train? Like,
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay,
what would
like
you
legs,
train?
upper body. I like a spin class, you know.
Really?
Love a spin class.
That's the one on the bicycles, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I don't think that's for me.
What is it? The cardio aspect of it? Do you prefer to kind of?
I think it's all
lift
it's
weights,
blasting music. It's high energy. If I go to the gym, I like to do weight training, slow and controlled weight training.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And where I feel like I'm really building some muscle mass and adding some bone density, and I like to be able to have time to nip in the sauna at the end. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, every time.
Those days are so rare though when you're trying to juggle everything. But that would be a dream if I could do that 4 days a week.
Yeah. Do you know what's so lovely
love
now is my oldest boy, Buster, he's old enough to come to the gym with me now and he loves it and he will go once or twice a week and so we'll train and then we'll go sit in the steam room together.
So nice. That's super cute.
And the fact that he's old enough and I'm now training with my son and then going to chill in the steam room with him
I love that.
and then we'll jump out and get like one of them freezing cold showers together.
Oh, no,
Not together, but like we'll jump in and we'll get a freezing cold shower and then we'll go back in the steam room. Love it.
I cannot bear a freezing cold shower. I love a sauna, but all this ice bathing, no. Cold
is it not
shower
for you?
Business, it is not for me.
I bought myself a cold pod.
I know, I remember because you posted yourself every night for about 2 weeks
I
sat
love
in an
it.
ice bath on Instagram.
I love it. And do you know what? It's not only... Well, mine popped.
Right.
I popped it when we have like one of these garden fire things and we were toasting marshmallows and a bit flew off and popped it. So I need to buy a new one. But I do love it. And for your mental health and for you, if you've been on like a long run or you've been to the gym and done a big legs day or whatever, go and sit in that. Honestly, it is brilliant. I love it.
I don't like it. I listened to a podcast recently and it was my get out of ice baths and cold plunging and cold swimming and all of that stuff because the lady said if you are naturally someone who is quite anxious, it raises your cortisol levels, the ice bathing.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not great. So I was like, fantastic. That's my out. That's my out. That's my out. I'm a sauna girl.
Right, next question is... So, when did you guys know you wanted to become actors?
When I realised no one was really going to pay me to do anything else, so I just thought if I can eat beans on toast doing this and being creative and working with nice people, it was the environment for me because I was working in a call centre beforehand and I'd done like theatre workshops and stuff when I was a kid. But as soon as I went back, I was working behind a bar in a theatre and I joined the Young Actors Company upstairs. And
so when you were working in the bar in the theatre, had you got an inkling that that is what you wanted to do? Is that why you went there to get that job?
I had a chat with a lovely lady and I've forgotten her name now, but she'd had her hair really short, like almost shaved, and she'd dye it different colours, different weeks. And I think this week it was pink and we had a chat and she said, what do you really want to do? I said, well, I used to do these drama workshops when I was a kid and I really think I'd like to act. And she said, well, why don't you go to the Contact Theatre on Oxford Road in Manchester? It's really good. And so I did. And I got a job behind the bar on the same day that I joined the Actors Company. And it was after spending a few weeks there, I decided that that's what I wanted to do. Even if it meant that I was working in the bar forever, but I was doing... being creative. It was about being in a room with people and having that lovely vibe of being creative and playful and it's a very supportive environment. So it's a space where you can mess up and you can be vulnerable and people are there to kind of build you up and support you. And that's what I really love. In particular about theatre, I think when you get into highbrow telly, the vibe shifts quite a lot.
Have you done highbrow telly?
I've not, and that's why I've avoided it. That's exactly why I've gone out of my way to turn down every major role that I've been offered because I've just thought, it's not my vibe. Same for you? Yeah,
exactly the same for me. So how did I get into acting? What was the question? How did you get into it? When did you decide you wanted to be
an actor? So for me, I decided after spending some time with some other creative people.
And you thought, I want to be in that world.
I just want to be around nice people.
I don't remember exactly when I decided
I've heard this story loads of times.
To be. It kind of happened by accident for me. So I was a gymnast. Long story short, gymnast. Broke my back when I was 17, so that put me.
Are you going to mention that you were going to represent England?
Well, that was when I was in the British. I was in the British gymnastics team, and by the time I got to 17, which is when you're supposed to be going to do that, the Olympics and everything like that, I broke my back.
Must
and that
have
was
been
it.
devastating, that though.
It was
'Cause
devastating.
You'd worked so hard
Since I was 5 or 6 years old.
and then you were on the cusp of achieving that dream.
Absolutely,
And then to break your back at that point,
Yeah,
that could have broken you as a person, like
well,
mentally,
it could have
emotionally.
done, but that led to, first of all, it led to 2 years of pretty intensive therapy on my back. And after that, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And it was my dad that went and picked a form up from Northern School of Contemporary Dance.
Yeah.
And he said, fill this in. He said, I reckon you'd be a good dancer because you've still got that gymnastics background. And I didn't want to be a dancer, but I didn't know what else I wanted to do. So I filled the form in, went to audition, got offered a place.
Amazing.
Did 3 years there. So essentially I trained as a dancer, not as an actor, as you've often gone, yes, you can tell. So I did 3 years there as a degree, and then I went straight into the West End. So my first 3 or 4 years on stage was as a dancer, not as an actor. And then Emmerdale came up.
Just straight. It did. That was like your first.
So I'd done 4 or 5 years in the West End, and then Emmerdale came up, and they said, "Do you fancy auditioning for this?" So I auditioned for it. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. Never done TV before. Only done stage, so I think I just shouted the lines like you.
Oh, you still do. I still do. We both just shout a lot, to be fair.
And it happened that way for me, and I got offered the part, and it was a 3-month gig.
And you were there 18 years.
Yeah, and then they extended it by another 3 months, and then 6 months, and then a year at a time, and then I was there 18 years. So it was very much by accident. But when I do look back on like me and my brother growing up, I found some tapes recently of when we got our first camcorder as a family. Do you know them big old camcorders that we used to have? And it's always, on the tapes, it's always me in front of the camera and my brother doing the filming, which is weird now because that's what he does now. He does audio-visual stuff, and I'm an actor. So if you look back on that, I think it was always made sense that I was going to be in front of the camera and he was always going to be doing the audio-visual stuff. Yeah.
What's your worst habit?
Oh, I don't have any habits.
I think beating myself up's my worst habit. For sure. I never sit back and go, oh, that was really good. Like, that's what I'm practicing doing. I think my instinct is often to go, that wasn't good enough. Why aren't you working harder? Why haven't you done this yet? To point out, like, instinctively, I point out everything that either I haven't done or is missing or my shortcomings, rather than being my own best friend. And I read a book when I was in the hospital with Lyra when she was born, and it was called The Untethered Soul. And the first chapter was about if you spoke to yourself, if you spoke to a roommate, say, or a friend, the way you spoke to yourself, how would they react? What would they think of you? And it was a real, like, mic drop moment for me because I suddenly realised that there is this internal narrative running in your head a lot of the time. And unless you become aware of it and really check it, you don't realise how negative you can be and unkind and unloving and uncaring and unsupportive you can be towards yourself.
Do you take that into your personal life? Like, I can see you've spoke to me about this, about you never really watched yourself on Emmerdale because of that reason. And I was the same. I didn't watch myself for about 15 years. I just pick holes in myself all the time.
I don't know whether I didn't watch it purely because I was worried I'd pick holes in myself. I do have a thing with, and we've also talked about this, that with performance, I think once it's done, I'm ready to move forward. I don't necessarily like lamenting. I think it is because we come from that theatre background.
Yeah, so I was going to say that.
It's a moment in time. You were creative.
You get that response,
and it's up to the audience if they like it. It's up to the director. It's up to everyone else. That's kind of done. But I do find it in terms of how it can shift how I'm feeling. So if I'm aware of that internal voice and I'm particularly supportive and kind towards myself, I'll have a different quality of day. Yeah. Whereas if I wake up a bit grumpy and I let myself have a right old moan in my head,
you ring me,
then the quality of my day gets worse because I ring you. So I say that was my worst habit, but something I've definitely been working on.
Do you think it is a bad habit because it's not nice to pick holes in yourself and to have that self-doubt and et cetera, et cetera. However, do you think that's what makes you so passionate about moving forwards and being better and the next thing? And because you're always, hustling's the wrong word, but you always trying to take that next step and to be better and to do better.
I don't think that voice ever helps me. I'll be honest, I really don't. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've enjoyed working with you on various projects, because we've always been each other's cheerleaders. And I think that that voice for me, when I'm kind towards myself and I tell myself, oh, you can do this, just have a go, it's going to be fine, it's okay if you fail, do you know what I mean? You have value outside of this, all of that stuff, then I tend to perform a lot better and I have a nicer time, and I go into it with a more playful energy rather than a fearful energy. Whereas if I beat myself up, I feel like a shy, weaker version of myself, and I don't ever feel like I do as well.
It's hard not to beat yourself up though in the industry that we're in though, isn't it? Because I've been talking to my oldest son Buster about this, because it's what he wants to get into. Bowie, my middle boy, he wants to get into it as well. Not from me or their mum pushing them in any way. It's just, I think they've naturally grown up around me and Charlie, and that's what they know and that's what they understand and that's what they want to go into. But I have told them it's difficult because 90% of the time you're getting knockbacks. I mean, we know this from our writing stuff. Like, we've done really well as writers, but then sometimes we've had many knockbacks, and it can affect you for days, can't it? And weeks.
Any creative person.
Yeah.
I spoke to a girl the other day. I was recording for the Yorkshire Auction House.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
The Yorkshire Auction House. Yeah.
And we'd just had a knockback for something, a script, and I said, oh, I've just had this knockback, you know. And she said, she was only young, she said, I applied for 168 jobs before I got this one.
Wow.
So she's a trainee camera assistant, and she was doing, you know, like some AD,
she just
and
carried
on the day.
on and carried on.
And I said, where did you find the drive to continue? And she said, I've just got really lucky parents. You know, I'm really lucky. I've got lovely parents who kept supporting me. She said, but I also thought I can't, you know, look myself in the mirror if I know I gave up on my dream. So yeah, you just really put it into context that, you know, no matter how hard you think you're working or how many times you've been knocked back, there's always someone who's been knocked back more, kept going, and ended up getting there.
Well, look at the story about J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter books.
10 years.
It took her 10 years to get that first one published.
Yeah, everyone kept saying no.
Everyone turned it down.
Can you imagine that?
Well, look at that.
Imagine all those publishers that said
no.
Can you imagine?
I know, right.
But it just goes to show, doesn't it? It's not a reflection of your worth or your quality.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Absolutely.
Things take time.
Right, let's go on to the next question. So,
one question we had on here was...
How do I complete 5 uni assignments without crashing out? Lots of coffee. I used a lot of coffee. Let's start that again.
You still use a lot of coffee. I would say...
coffee.
I'm going to be a mum and just say, you know, try and make sure you sleep. And I know when you're under... This is such a mumsy answer. I know when everyone's under a lot of stress, the hardest thing to do is get a good quality sleep. So I would put on a bedtime meditation, do some nice stretching, actually let the nervous system relax.
Yeah.
So the body can relax, get a good night's sleep, and you'll be firing more on all cylinders.
Lion's mane.
Oh, yeah,
Lion's mane,
yes.
mushroom. In fact, you've been taking this, haven't you?
I have, because you very kindly gave me a box.
I'm going to go get it because I want to show.
Yeah, go and get it.
I want to show how to complete. So who was this? Who was it that asked this question?
I've clicked on the wrong thing now. But yeah, I found them absolutely fantastic.
I
genuinely feel. And yeah, in there's one called Rishi as well, which is Rishi.
Rishi was in Emmerdale.
Reishi. You take that at night, which helps sleep. And I've genuinely found when I've popped a few drops of that in my chamomile tea, I've slept better. And the lion's mane is for focus, isn't it? And I know a few people that have started taking lion's mane and said it's really worked.
So this box here, I bought you one, didn't I?
Yeah,
and you've been taking it.
Nice.
You've finished all yours.
Yeah, I ate it all up.
This company's called Life Cycle. And you get a little box like this, information leaflet, and you get all your mushroom extracts in there. And they're all for different things. So lion's mane, which is the one that they say, take that instead of having a cup of coffee in the morning. And
I personally put it in my coffee.
Yeah, it's nice in coffee, but you can also just take it like that. And it tastes really good. But in these kits, you get lion's mane, cordyceps, turkey tail, shiitake, which is the one for beauty inside and out.
Okay, I'll take that one.
You're already beautiful inside and out, Rox.
Oh, you're nice. Right, come on, next question. What else have we got here? Oh, any advice on how to get into yoga as a beginner? Do you know what? I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to do a beginner's course and pop it online.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I am. That's all we need to say about that one, so stay tuned. But there are lots of amazing beginners courses out there. So I would find a good beginners course online and go really slowly, and then join a local yoga class. Make sure you go to a beginner's class, and I think they're the best two ways to do it, but take it slowly and listen to your body.
This is a good one.
Questions?
This is a good one. Was there any storylines on Emmerdale you did but didn't particularly like or feel comfortable doing? Now, I've got a good answer to this. Do you remember when we started writing together and when you came back to Emmerdale after you had a short break? That's when we started becoming really good friends, writing together, all our little side hustles that we did. They decided to try and put David and Layla back together. Do you remember? And we had to do a kissy scene. And it was the weirdest thing, wasn't
horrible.
it? Because
it's really weird.
it was all right. It's all right when you're doing them scenes with...
More strangers.
Well, not strangers, but...
To be fair,
the fact that we were like best mates and then they were like, we read these scenes and we were like, we've got to kiss. That's the weirdest thing in the world.
Do you know what? I genuinely find all of those kind of scenes, I really struggle with them because I am someone, and I know it sounds daft as an actor because people listening are like, but it's your job. Yeah, it is. And you do get on with it. But for me personally, I'm so weird about personal space. Do you know what I mean? And like, I feel... I've never been comfortable with it. They always make me anxious. I always get a bit awkward. But the best way I've found to deal with it is to almost choreograph it like a dance.
Yeah.
So if it has to be passionate, I think instinctively writers will always write, and they're kissing and they're ripping each other's tops off and all. And actually, as a viewer, I don't think that's always really effective to watch. There's an amazing writer called what's her name? Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes. And she was once described as a really erotic writer. And she said she found that really funny because she never actually wrote physically intimate scenes.
Right.
She would use the space in between couples to create the chemistry, to create the sizzle. And that's something that I always think is best to, start with some space and, I'm going to put my hand here and then put it there. And then so both people know what's coming, when it's coming. They've both kind of okayed it in rehearsal. And then you feel comfortable. Otherwise, you end up doing these scenes where both people feel a bit weird.
And then it looks weird.
With the clothes, and it just looks dead awkward.
Nowadays, it's very different from when we started, though, isn't it?
Because just throw it at you, or even the young ones.
There's intimacy directors on set now. So if there's ever anything that's intimate, even a hug or a touch or anything like that nowadays, absolutely. Absolutely. They will have an intimacy person on set that just makes sure everyone's feeling comfortable. Like you say, like it's not a very comfortable thing to do when it's you with somebody you don't really know. Yeah. Even worse with somebody that you do really know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right, have we got any other questions before we go?
Let's do two more. Right, here we go.
Why didn't you come back for Layla's funeral?
I wasn't asked to come back for Layla's funeral. No, and do you know what? I think with the way that the soap, we've all seen in the press at the moment that the soaps have had to make
some cuts,
millions of pounds worth of cuts across the board, from staff to writers to cast.
So you're saying you're too expensive?
No, I'm not saying I'm too expensive, but they're not going to necessarily ask people back for like one episode. When they're making cuts and they're killing characters off.
Or would it have been weird for you to come back maybe?
No, I would have, if they'd have asked me to come back for your funeral, obviously, I would have done. But yeah, I can see why they didn't. They didn't ask your sister back. So
I think it'd be weird for me. Like if someone that I was really close to, they can't ask me back now because I'm dead. But if I wasn't
There's always things they can do.
If I wasn't dead and they'd asked me to come back after I'd been out of it for like a year, I think I wouldn't want to, because not that door's ever going to be like closed, because you're always going to love Emmerdale.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, once you've like stepped away from something, I think to step back into it for a day or two could be emotionally quite a lot.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Right, what's the last question? You go for it.
Okay.
What's your worst habit? You didn't answer that.
I said I don't have any bad habits. No. What is my worst habit? Do you know a physical habit that I have that really annoys everyone?
What is it?
I bite the inside of my mouth. Do you do that?
No, I don't.
And I'm always doing this. And everyone goes, why are you pulling that face? And I'm always biting the inside of my cheek. So that's like a silly little physical habit I've got. But
right, can you do your, what's your funniest, embarrassing story?
Oh,
what about that one
it's with me and you
with
again.
Your audition? What about the one with your audition?
Which one?
Do you remember where you... the one where you dyed your hair? It was for Ghost. Please tell that one. That's a good one.
Well,
So you got the script. So they were doing Ghost the Was it Ghost the musical they were doing?
Yeah, and I'd stupidly peroxided my hair.
I've got to be Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
That's not Kevin Spacey. What's his name? What's his name?
It's not Kevin Spacey.
What's his name? The guy in it.
What, the guy
in Ghost?
It's what's he called? The dancer.
Oh, was he in no one?
What? Patrick Swayze. Kevin Spacey. Yeah, so I'd stupidly peroxided my hair. Why'd I done that?
I think you
had a midlife crisis. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I peroxided my hair, and then this audition came through for, and I did the self-tape, sent it off to my agent, and he replied within 2 seconds, going, "Why's your hair like that? It's totally wrong for the part.
White.
Go and do it again. Sort your hair out and do it again." So I went to Boots, bought a dye, dyed it.
What colour was the dye?
The dye was brown, but because I was putting it on peroxide, it went bright ginger. Like I love ginger hair, but it wasn't right for the part. No, absolutely not. And it genuinely went bright orange. So I put a hat on, went back down to Boots, bought a darker dye, dyed it, and I took a picture and sent it to you, didn't I? Or did I FaceTime you going, what the hell's gone wrong here? And it had gone black, basically. And I have not got the complexion for black hair.
It was like that purpley black.
Purple black.
So, we've all seen it. It's like a purpley black.
Yeah.
And it made your face look really grey. You looked ill.
Awful.
You looked ill and a bit deranged because of the colour.
Then what I did was got my clippers and shaved my head. Which was, so I now had like a shaved head, but still with blue-black hair. And I thought, well, sod it, I've got to do this self-tape. So I did the self-tape again. So this was over the period of a full day that all this was happening. Sent the self-tape off, and my agent just replied with, "I'm not sending that." Yeah. So after a full day, I was absolutely exhausted.
So
I had a shaved black hair and
black scalp.
I didn't get the job. He didn't even send the tape off. He said, "I'm not sending that tape. You look ridiculous." So yeah. But I thought that question was, what was the most embarrassing scene in Emmerdale that you had to film? And I was going to say, it was another scene with you when David found out that he had testicular cancer, or thought he'd found a lump, and he asked Layla to take a picture of him underneath. So I had to stand there, and it was quite a funny scene. Well, I had like a sock on, didn't I?
Honestly, I feel like I actually can't recall the day because I feel like I blocked it out.
Have you wiped it out?
Yeah, it's like trauma. Yeah, it was awful.
Is that what all your therapy was for?
Yeah, that's why I go to therapy. Right, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for all your questions.
Brilliant questions.
I'm really looking forward to season 3.
Well, if this has worked and people like it, please write us some messages on our Instagram page if you liked it. And if you did, I think this is a really good concept for season 3, and we'll get people to write in more questions.
I think it'd be good, though, as well, if people were asking us, like, is it all right to ever take back someone who cheats? And then we can...
Oh, like proper agony aunt stuff.
Proper agony aunt stuff. Because I think we've got, even though we're very similar in lots of ways, I do think we have a lot of different opinions. And and also, I don't want to do season 3 where I just listen to you half the time talking about you.
Great.
So I'd prefer to talk about you guys. So please send us in.
Yeah, or videos. You can stick a video on a DM as well. Do a little video and we can put it on like the top corner of the screen, can't we? And we can answer your questions. But yeah, I've enjoyed doing this.
I've enjoyed doing this.
High five. Well done for season 2. And roll on season 3
well done,
with hashtag Dear Matt and Roxy.